Halloween used to be my favourite holiday, a time of the year where you could dress up as someone else and have fun without being judged. But as you get older, those times are few and far. If you're reading or listening to this is not a joke. The Trashman is real. We summoned him, and our lives will never be the same. I've never shared what really happened that night with anyone, but maybe our experiences will stop others making the same mistake. The story begins a few years ago with a video that this rather stupid and irresponsible YouTuber thought would be funny. The Legend of the Trashman, Lovecraft's undiscovered work. A seemingly harmless April Fool's joke pretending the Trashman had some kind of secret lore and wasn't just part of a TV show. A story about a homeless man down on his luck killed by a gang of thieves over a cup of coffee. Except he didn't die. He encountered an entity that resurrected him as the King of Trash, destined to bring with him the Trashpocalypse and the end of the world. I'll admit at the time it was pretty funny, but this is the internet. You can't just make a joke and expect everyone to understand that it's not real. In a matter of weeks, brainlets and mongoloids all over the world started cults in the Trashman's name. Every Starbucks was flooded with people desperate for a venti, sugar-free, non-fat, vanilla soy, double shot, decaf, no foam, extra hot peppermint, white chocolate mocha with light whip and extra syrup, just so they could get a taste of their new Lord and Saviour's favourite beverage. Worst of all, the Trashman had been thrust into the mainstream. Numerous rituals and incantations that could summon the Trashman circulated the internet. Reddit, 4chan, Facebook, Twitter, it was everywhere. Of course, the Instagram models and influencer leeches pounced on the chance to sell diet plans and workouts inspired and certified by the Trashman. You can finally have that beach body you've always deserved. Just stop recycling and inhale trash. You can smell the weight loss. The Twitch streamers and YouTubers had their trash-flavoured G Fuel, which contained real, authentic trash. Use code TRASH to get 15% off your order today. I even heard that Netflix were making a Trashman movie where the Trashman was being played by none other than Brie Larson, because her acting is truly trash. I'm sure you're starting to get my point. The world had gone trash crazy, but just like all fads, it eventually died down. When people realized that the rituals were fake and it was nothing more than an April Fool's prank turned into a giant cash grab, it became another irrelevant trend destined to die. Even the guy who made the video in the first place disappeared. Some say he was taken by the Trashman to his underground city, whereas others say he just went back to making regular Mythology videos. No one really knows because YouTube notifications are trash. Anyway, I digress. Now that you have an idea of what started everything, I'll continue with my story. I was in my senior year at college, and come October I had some time off to study, but that was the last thing I wanted to do. So I decided to head back home and visit my friends for Halloween. If anyone enjoyed the holiday as much as I did, it was them. They'd always have a massive party every year, but that kind of stopped when we all went off to college and did our own things. I got there about a week early just to see some family. I grew up in southern Philadelphia, so MIT wasn't that far away. I don't really know why I didn't visit home more often. The day I arrived, we agreed to meet up at our local diner, Frankie's. My best friend Zach, his girlfriend Kaylee, and Charlie. Zach and Kaylee were there on time, but Charlie was running late, as usual. So we ordered without him, as usual. We spoke for a while and it seemed as if nothing had really changed from the last time. They were both happy together with jobs they enjoyed and a bunch of holidays planned. You know, couple things. I was pretty focused on school, and Charlie, from the sound of it, was now working part-time in a thrift store. About an hour in, when we were getting ready to leave, Charlie came bundling through the door with that grin on his face. The same grin that always indicated he had something stupid planned. He slid into our booth and slammed down an old beaten-up book on the table. "You guys know what that is?" "No, Charlie, but I'm sure you're gonna tell us." We all humoured him. "That, my fellow worms, is the Necronomicon." "As in, Lovecraft's Necronomicon?" Kaylee seemed more interested than Zach and I did. "You're damn right that's the one. Some guy in a suit and shades dropped it off today at the store. When I asked him how much he wanted for it, the idiot just walked away. And what do you plan on doing with it? Zach intervened. Using it, obviously. Look at all these rituals. There's even one for the Trashman. This has to be the real deal. You're still obsessed with finding the Trashman even after all this time. Well, not all of us can just get up and leave and go work for NASA. Maybe this is my shot at being someone. Zach and Kaylee didn't seem too bothered, like they'd heard this story before. My place tonight, and we can go over what's inside and see if it's real. We'll be there, Kaylee answered for them both. Charlie turned to me waiting for an answer. No, sounds like a waste of time. Come on, what happened to Dennis the Menace? You remember all the crazy shit we did when we were younger? First of all, no one ever called me that, and we're not kids anymore. Sounds like MIT has made Dennis the Menace a real grouch. One last adventure before you forget us all. I remembered I was there to have fun. Fine, let's do it. And just like that, Dennis the Menace is back. Stop calling me that. Charlie darted out of the booth. Are you not going to order anything? Zach questioned him. No time. I have to prepare. For what? The rituals? There's more to them than just reciting some mumbo jumbo. I told you guys this is the real deal. And just like that, he was gone. Good to see Charlie is still Charlie. The last few years have been pretty tough on him, and we haven't exactly been great friends. Charlie had lost his mother a few years ago, the only family he had, and we all went off to college. He had this crazy idea that if he could find the Trashman, he could bring her back, and none of us really had the heart to tell him how insane that sounded. He doesn't still think that he can bring... He does. We've tried to help him, but it always just ends up back at the Trashman. I think it's the only thing that keeps him going. We didn't say much after that. The three of us just sat there in silence. I guess we felt the same guilt for allowing Charlie to get this bad, for being such shitty friends. When I got to Charlie's house, I felt uneasy. I don't know if it was the weather or the fact I hadn't been back there since his mother passed away. Charlie greeted me at the door before I could even knock. Well, now look who's late. The power's out, by the way, so grab a candle and follow me. We're almost ready. I followed Charlie down to the basement where Zach and Kaylee were waiting around a candlelit table. Charlie's basement was more of a bomb shelter. His mother was convinced that the end was coming, and when it did, she would be prepared. So I guess insanity runs in the family. Remind me again why we're doing this in the basement, in the dark, during a storm, just like every horror movie we've ever seen. If you don't think it's real, then why does it even matter? I couldn't disagree with Charlie there. I didn't believe in any of this, and after all, this night was for him. So I took a seat with the others who looked equally as confused as I did. You can take a look inside the book while I get everything ready. I looked over at Zach. You think the cover's really made out of human skin? No idea, but I ain't touching that. Stop being babies, it's just leather. Kaylee flipped over the cover, landing on a random page. The Summoning of the Dayman and the Summoning of the Nightman. They both looked over at me. Looks like garbage to me. She turned the page. More incoherent symbols, some language I'd never seen, and a bunch of grotesque pictures. This is pretty weird, but it's also pretty awesome. Zach nodded in agreement, but I still couldn't shake that feeling from earlier. The Secrets of Rumham. Look at everything it makes. Love Potion. Transmutation Box. Everlasting Youth Elixir. Grow your own Magnum Dong. Whatever that means. We should definitely test some of this stuff. Kaylee seemed pretty sold already, and I'd be lying if I said it didn't interest me. Charlie's been gone for... Let us begin, maggots! Charlie slammed down a tray before Zach could finish. What the hell is that? This, Dennis, is all the ingredients we need to summon the Trashman. We each took a Starbucks cup from Charlie. Drink up, and we can begin the ritual. I'm not drinking anything until you tell us what's inside of it. It's a venti, sugar-free, non-fat, vanilla soy, double shot, decaf, no foam, extra hot peppermint, white chocolate mocha of light whip and extra syrup. Obviously. And what else? It smells like sewage. It's better if you drink up first. Without a second thought, Zach downed the entire cup, shortly followed by Charlie and Kaylee, who, by the looks on their faces, didn't seem too bothered. I wasn't going to be the only one who wussed out. I closed my eyes, pinched my nose, and went to my happy place. Whatever it was thick, lumpy, and watery all at the same time. I gagged once or twice, but it went down. When I opened my eyes, all three of them were throwing up into a cauldron-like bowl. They wiped themselves off and turned to face me, as if it was my turn. "You have to throw up in the bowl," Charlie explained as if it was obvious. "I don't need to. I'm good." "The entire ritual won't work if you don't." "I'm not sticking my fingers down my throat. Just continue." "You know, you were right. It smelt like sewage because one of the main ingredients was sewer water." "What else did you put inside?" Kaylee inquired, looking like she was ready to blow her top. "Well, whatever was on the list. You know, apple skin, hand sanitizer, glue, spray paint, sewage, rat meat, and hard-boiled eggs, all blended up and added to some coffee. Oh, and the secret ingredient." Charlie lifted up his sockless feet and wiggled his toes. "Freshly cut toenails." That was enough for me to begin hurling into the cauldron. "You made us drink that." Kaylee's tone suggested she wasn't so interested in the book anymore. "Yes. I knew we were going to throw up, so it's not really dangerous, is it?" "You made us drink your fucking toenails, Charlie." Zach chimed in, looking as peeved as Kaylee and I. "I cut my toenails a few weeks ago, but the homeless guy across the street did sell me his own personal collection. They weren't freshly cut, but that just adds more character." Just when I thought I was done, I found myself face first in that bowl again, throwing up whatever was left over from the first time. Once everyone had calmed down, we continued. Charlie grabbed the book and turned to a page with a man on a throne of trash. "You ready?" We all nodded in the least convincing manner possible. He closed his eyes, threw up his hood, and stirred whatever was in that bowl, and then it began. Charlie was a lot of things. A weirdo, a moron, disgusting, and more than just slightly crazy, but he was also a showman. "In the house of trash, the king lays dormant. In his palace of garbage he awaits. In the rivers of sewage he stands, monster dong in hand. Please, O mighty and well-endowed Trashman, accept this gift of sewer soup made only with the finest toenail clippings. We ask only for an audience with the Lord of Trash, and in exchange our souls you can take." "Wait a second, I didn't sign— Shh!" Charlie hushed away any concerns from Zach and continued. "I take this holy creature, and with it I give you a piece of myself." He dangled a dead rat in the air before dropping it and spitting into the bowl. We sat there in silence waiting. After 10 minutes, I had had enough. "Well, that was great. Now, I'm gonna go find some mouthwash and probably Look!" Charlie was pointing at the bowl. It began to boil and swirl. I checked underneath for a hot plate, but there wasn't one. "It's happening! I told you it was the real deal!" We were all speechless. I don't think any of us expected anything from this train wreck of an idea. All of a sudden the boiling stopped and the rat resurfaced, floating in the gunk. I moved in closer, but as I did it sprung to life, leaping out of the bowl and onto the table. It stumbled around for a while before standing on its hind legs. "What are you fucktards looking at?" I guess this is where the story gets crazy. The voice didn't come from any of us. It came from the rat stood on 2 legs staring at me, expecting an answer. "A talking rat?" was all I could muster out of shock. "Oh great, another 63 IQ human meddling with things he shouldn't be. How did you 4 mongoloids get this book then?" "Rats don't talk." "I see. It's gonna be one of those days, is it? You know, if I were human, I'd shove my fist right in your ass, hard and fast." but not in a sexual way, in the I'm pissed off sort of way. A man in a black suit gave it to me. Tall guy, wears shades, looks like Vin Diesel's skinny cousin, but you can actually understand what he's saying. Yeah, that's the guy. Oh boy, the boss is not gonna like this. Not one bit. The boss? You mean the Trashman? Charlie couldn't hide his excitement. Yeah, and you idiot summoned him when he's got important business to take care of. He will not be pleased. So he is coming then? Unfortunately for you, yes. The rat leapt off the table and onto the floor. The name's Cricket, by the way. Not Rat, but you'll be joining me soon anyway. Except you. It pointed at me and gave me the finger. Fuck you, fuckface. That was the last thing it said before disappearing into the floorboards. Charlie was ecstatic, running around the room, fist pumping and screaming. The rest of us were still confused. Did we drink sewage? Reanimate a talking rat who then proceeded to insult you and talk about fisting you? Yeah, I think we did. I'm glad Zach finished my sentence because it sounded ridiculous. What do you think he meant when he said we'd be joining him soon? I don't know, Kaylee, it's a fucking talking rat. None of this makes any sense. It does, I chimed in. Whatever we drank was obviously spiked or laced with something. The entire thing was just a hallucination. I tried desperately to find some kind of rational explanation. A hallucination that we all saw. Kaylee was as unconvinced as I was. It's late. We're all confused and we're all tired, and I've personally had enough talking rats and toenails for a lifetime. Let's just go home. That was the most rational thing I'd heard all evening, and that's what we did. The next few days were surprisingly quiet. We were all on edge except for Charlie, who was eagerly awaiting our visit from the Trashman. As the days went by, Charlie grew more and more frustrated, whereas the rest of us were just relieved it was all bullshit. Halloween came, and so did the party I'd forgotten about. It was at Charlie's place, which made sense considering he didn't care what kind of mess was left behind. Honestly, I didn't want to go, but I'd already bought my costume. Well, it wasn't much of a costume. I was going as James Bond. The suit I already had, so I just ordered a bow tie and a toy gun. I was running late that night because I couldn't get my bow tie straight, and my OCD just wouldn't let me go. Nice suit you got there, fucko. I turned to my right, and sitting on the basin was the same rat from that night. You're not real. Piss off. I had hoped if I said it out loud it might be true. I'm about as real as your gaping anus when I'm done with it, because if I was human again I'd shove— Yeah, I get it, you'd shove that fist right in my arse, hard and fast, but not in a sexual way, you weirdo. You summoned me. Enough of that attitude, unless you— What do you want? Nothing. I'm just here to enjoy your last night. Of course, because the Trashman is coming to get me. Oh no. Yeah, everybody's a tough guy until they've had a fist in their anus. That's not something people say, you just made that up. Of course an uncultured swine and a simpleton like you would think that. What are you meant to be anyway? A smartly dressed retard? No, I'm James Bond. The only thing you and 007 have in common is that's how many brain cells you got floating around your tiny human peanut brain. I had had about enough of this rat insulting me. I reached for my can of deodorant, but as I turned to spray, he was gone. I thought about calling the others and telling them what I'd seen, but it was Halloween. I needed a break, and I needed to have some fun, and I wasn't going to let some anus-obsessed talking rat ruin that for me. I was late and I was pissed off, but I was going to that party, Trashman or not. When I arrived, it was pretty much what I expected. A bunch of drunk 20-somethings trying their hardest to forget that they were now adults with responsibilities. It was every college party you'd ever seen, but in fancy dress, so I guess that made it a tad more bearable. People were dancing, drinking, shouting, and stumbling all over the place. I went to school with most of these people, but they seem like strangers. I wondered what they were doing now, what life choices they made, and whether they were truly happy, because they seemed happier than me. I bumped into Zach before I could get too deep into my own head. "You're late." "Yeah, long story. Well, Charlie has officially lost it." "What's he done now?" "See for yourself." I followed him to the kitchen where Charlie was jumping on the counter. There were chants of rum, ham, rum, ham. Charlie had a ham on a stick which he was dousing in rum. He took a lighter and set the ham on fire. "Rum ham, for you, my lord." He thinks the Trashman is coming to his party. Zach could see I wasn't as dismissive as he was. "What are you not telling me?" "Well, the talking rat paid me a visit today." He smirked. "He came back to give you that fisting after all." "No. Well, kind of. But he said the Trashman was coming tonight." The smirk on his face quickly disappeared. "Where's Kaylee?" "I don't know. We came here together, but I haven't seen her in the past hour." "You don't think she's in trouble?" "I don't know. Give her a call." I scoured the room, but there was no sign of her. What I did find was worse. Up and down the skirting boards and stairs there were rats, 2 lanes of them, some coming and some going. There was one at the front door looking at me, giving me the finger. I guess that was Cricket. I turned to Zach, who shook his head. Kaylee wasn't answering. I showed him the rats, and we decided to follow them upstairs. Charlie's place was huge, but if she was here, we'd find her. The trail led us to the bathroom. Both of us knew what could be on the other side of that door, but it didn't matter. Zach nudged it open, and we forced ourselves in. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but it wasn't what we found. There in front of us was Kaylee, at least part of her. She was inside the toilet. We couldn't see her lower half, but her upper half was trying desperately to pull herself out. "Hello, boys. I've been waiting. You must be Zachary, and this less than impressive specimen I take it is Dennis." The man didn't introduce himself. He didn't have to. We knew who he was. After all, we summoned him. Kaylee was still struggling and calling out for help. "Silence!" The Trashman snapped his fingers and her mouth filled with hard-boiled eggs. "So why have I been summoned here?" Again, Zach and I could muster no words. "What's the matter? Rat got your tongue?" "Cat." He moved closer to Zach. "What?" "I believe it's cat got your tongue, not rat." "Incorrect! Rats are superior to cats in every way." "That's not what I said." "I don't care what you said. This toilet appears to be backed up. Shall we give it a flush?" He snapped his fingers again and the toilet began to swell. We watched as Kaylee span round and round before completely disappearing. Zach was far more animated than I was. "Where did you send her?" "To my kingdom." "Bring her back now." "No, but you're welcome to join her." Zach turned to me as if I had the answer. I just shook my head. "You'll never see her again. It's your choice, Zachary. Come with me and be with her forever, or stay here with this useless turd." "I'm sorry, dude. I have to find her." I'd like to think I would have done the same in Zach's position, but I'm no hero. "Okay, I'll go." "Excellent choice. You will make a fine trash monkey." He snapped his fingers once more, and a Starbucks cup appeared in his hand. "Drink, and you shall join your love." "What is it?" "It's what you drank in order to summon me, only more authentic." Zach took a swig and began to choke. He dropped to his knees and started convulsing. I looked to the trash man, but he just laughed. "Another trash monkey to add to the collection. Ha ha ha!" When I looked back at Zach, he was gone. His clothing was in a pile on the floor, but he was nowhere to be seen. A small rat crawled out from his trouser leg. The trash man picked it up and dangled it over the toilet. "Say goodbye to your friend, he's going to a happier place." I probably should have been more concerned about seeing two of my best friends being flushed down a toilet, but none of this made sense. How do you flush a person down a toilet? "Magic, of course. This, Dennis, is why you are not ready to join us. You do not believe. I only accept the finest misfits, those who have no dreams, no aspirations, those who society has beat down upon because they do not conform. You are not of the finest, you are of the worst. You still think a high-paying job makes you better than others. You think a high social standing will make them respect you, and better yet, you think it will make you happy." The worst part of all of this was nothing he said was untrue. The bathroom door opened and Charlie wobbled in, clearly intoxicated. "Dennis, did I ever tell you?" He paused when he saw the trash man. "Hey, trash man, I knew you were real." "You are most certainly of the finest." "Heh. Oh, thank you. Come with me to Trashtopia, Charlie. A place where you will finally feel at home. A place where rivers of coffee flow endlessly, where hookers and blow are mandatory, and where we feast on rum ham every night." "That sounds good, but can you bring back my mum first?" "There is no need, she's already waiting for us." "Wow. Okay, I'm in." I watched him repeat the same process as Zach, but Charlie obviously enjoyed the drink. With Rat Charlie in hand, the trash man gave me his final speech. "You will see your friends eventually. You're still full of hope. You want to put people on Mars. You want a wife and a family. But I will make sure you have none of that. So go ahead, finish school, get your dream job, meet a nice girl. Just when you think all of the hard work is finally paying off, I will return and take it all. I will reach my fist deep inside of your anus and I will take everything." Why? What did I ever do? "Because I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage, and then I pick up the trash can and I bash the guy over the head." That doesn't answer my question. It doesn't even make sense. He gave me the finger before jumping into the toilet and disappearing with Charlie. The police never found any of them, just a bunch of kids gone missing after getting drunk. I never did finish college. I dropped out when I was institutionalized. Ironically, there isn't much left for the trash man to take. You'd be surprised how many people in these places aren't actually crazy, but their stories, just like mine, are dismissed as the ramblings of a lunatic. Every Halloween I can feel his presence, a pulsating feeling in my anus. This year feels like it might be the last.